Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Okay, so you're doing a Dutch door application and you want to have concealed hinges.
Yes.
Okay.
And I do consider the strap hinges we already have.
Yeah, I see those strap hinges. Yeah, those are neato Toledo. So I came across McKinney hinges that state they are for 4-foot wide doors. I saw your video, blah, blah, blah. 100-year-old strap hinges, sure. So, yeah, the McKinney concealed hinge is going to, you're going to have two hinges on each leaf, the upper and lower. They're going to easily handle the weight of what you're doing, easily. Even in spite of the fact that you have a 4-foot wide door. However, I can't help but think you're spending more money than you need to. What makes and McKinney hinge is great. What makes it more expensive than average is the fact that you get 3 axis adjustability, the X and Y and the Z. You can tweak the position of the door leaf in the finished opening as a result of what the McKinney hinge. It's an adjustable concealed hinge. If you don't need that adjustability, I wouldn't spend the extra money, and I would use a product by someone who has been making those hinges for decades and doesn't make an adjustable hinge. That company would be Saw. Regardless of whose hinge you use, you have to be able to mortise the body of the hinge to the jamb and to the edge of the door. And sometimes the jamb is a problem because the body on concealed hinges is quite wide, but it's quite deep and tall as well. And it's the depth that could cause a problem.
Okay. Well, if we didn't go with the McKinney, what other brand? I've been searching and searching. I haven't seen anything that will support a 48-inch wide door except the McKinney. What other products do you have that will support that?
Yeah, forget about the fact that you have a 4-foot wide door. You have a very light door. That's the thing. Any of these concealed hinges are gonna you keep throwing concealed hinges at something, you can hang something 300 pounds or heavier. And in fact, with Soft, SOSS, they've got stuff that'll hang over 1,000-pound doors with concealed hinges. So it's not an issue. So it's either going to be the McKinney product, which is great, you're going to love it, assuming you can get it fit into the door and frame, and that would be getting the template for it and then sending that to your installer to say, hey, this is kosher. I need your blessing on this. Are you going to be able to make it work? Okay, awesome. Husbands are handy at times. Handy to have around.
He's never done before.
Oh, yeah, well, that's where I come in. I can walk you all through it. So it's jump in the water's fine. How thick is the door?
It's 2 inches thick.
Okay.
But it's not a solid 2 inches. It's like 3 layers of I'd say 3/4 inch doors, 3/4 inch wood. Because we have the door itself, and then we have like the frame that goes around it, and then we have the frame on the other side that goes around it, on the outside of the doors. I could send you a picture.
Yeah, that would probably be really good to see. It is going to just boil down to, and you should reply with images of the door, but it's going to boil down to, can you fit the hinge? And knowing how thick the jamb is important to make sure that you've got enough wood there to mortise to for the concealed hinge. And if you don't, then don't throw out those strap hinges just yet.
Okay.
So why don't you send me a picture of your door, and we can pick this up at that time. I'll need to redo that, and I can reply back with a template that you can check out
to see if it works.
Yeah, that we'll work towards determining if this is going to work for you. Why do you want a concealed hinge? For the obvious reason, the hardware you don't see?
Yes, because I thought about the butt hinge, but then I thought, oh, we're going to have the T-strap hinge, then there's going to be a butt hinge in between each one. And I thought,
well, you're not going to install you're not going to install the strap hinges with anything concealed. So, or any other hinge. Was it your intent to have those on there for decorative purposes?
Yes.
That's not going to work.
Oh.
No.
So because we already got the strap hinges on there. The only thing is that there's so much play in them, and there's no way to take them apart to fix them because they're forged that way, and the door just sags down.
Yeah, you're going to have to get rid of those. I mean, if you're going to go with a different hanging method, you won't be able to, keep your eyes open and sneeze at the same time. It's just something that you can't do. You can't use two different. So the reason you can't on the hinges is because imagine on your strap hinges, imagine this imaginary vertical line that goes through the rotation point of your hinges. That's the vertical axis of pivoting. Your concealed hinges or butt hinges or pivots or anything else will have a different imaginary vertical line. And if those imaginary vertical lines aren't absolutely true plumb level and square or the same, the door is not going to operate. You might get the door open a little bit, but you'll be pulling hardware out of something really quick.
Okay. Well, we already got the strap hinges installed.
Yeah, I mean, you might be able to, if you love the look of strap hinges, you're either going to live with what you got or try to find a reproduction company that might make some. That's not an area that I can help with. Or if you want to go with concealed altogether, you might be able to modify those strap hinges to just be faux, just fake plants, hang it on concealed, or something of that nature.
Kind of like they do on the garage doors where they have the fake looking hinges on them.
Yeah, well said. That's exactly what I was saying without being able to think of an example. Absolutely. Yeah, like carriage doors. It's not a carriage door, it's an overhead door, but it looked like a carriage door.
Yeah. Okay, well, let me get out there and take a picture, and I'll get that off to you. See what you think.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, and we'll pick it up on the back end.
Okay, thank you so much, Richard.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video.
Said make quick work of this or something?
Yeah, make quick work of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, your application is, I think, really ideal for this hinge for a number of reasons. First of all, it's going to handle the width and the weight easily. Second, they're in stock. I keep them on the shelf. Third, they're easy to install, and you would be able to mortise them because of your installation without really any trouble. You don't have any conflict that I could detect in your photos. They're completely concealed, so you can go with your giant strap hinges, although you can see how now you'd have to cut them basically in half right near the knuckle. But when the door's in the closed position, it would look like they were doing the work.
Right, yeah. And I'm afraid, and I'm not really opposed to taking them off, but it's all the holes they would leave.
No, you would leave them there. You would take them down to cut them and put them right back up.
Yeah. Okay, so which hinge is this?
So that hinge is what we'd call a sauce 220. Well, actually, bear with me. How thick is your door? I thought about that question after I sent that.
It's just a little over 2 inches.
Oh, the sauce 220 is perfect. So that part number is SOSS, then 220, and that template shows you, while it may be, that template may be intimidating, maybe it's not, but it's not. It is super easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy because I've done it, but I'm saying the first time I did it, I was intimidated. After that, I'm an expert. And there's really only one rule with that hinge, which I can explain at some point, but I think it's ideal.
Okay. And let's see. You got any questions, Garland? Oh, how many hinges per door? The upper and the lower?
2.
Yeah.
You can't make an argument for more than 2. You're just a hinge salesman at that point. Yeah, 2.
Okay.
These things are $54 each, so it's not that they're cheap, but they're not expensive for doing the work.
Yeah, I can see what we spent on that building. That's not bad. Oh, so do you have to? I assume that you're going to have to recess this, like on the edge of the door, to inset it in both of the door and the frame.
Yes, you'd have to make a couple of mortises for sure, and each mortise requires 2 different steps.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's not a big deal. And
is there any special tools required to do this?
There are, in the sense that you must use the router bit at the proper diameter. You must use the guide in the router at the proper outside diameter is required. Now, you don't have to use a router to do these. When you look at that template, however you achieve the dimensional requirements of the template is great. You could use Forstner bits. You could use a hammer and chisel and a paddle. You could use a paddle bit at the top and bottom and then chisel the rest out. You could. But if I was going to do this, I would consider it.
Now we'll have a router, so that's not a problem. I would prefer to use a router myself.
Yeah. You're going to need the right diameter guide and the proper diameter router bit. They must be the right size, or your prep will be too big or too small.
Okay, is that part of the instructions, what size we need to use, or can you email those to us?
Yes to both. So the kind of thing that I can do is it could be all part of the 4 hinges, 1 guide, 1 router bit, and then 1 template. They even make a wooden template for this. That it's not that it's disposable, but it might be $25. It's made of 1 by Poplar, but it's got the right size already prepped in it. So it's really minimizing the amount of work that you'll have to do standing, in an existing opening.
Well, that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that
sounds real good.
Yeah. So the only thing that's difficult for me to detect in your images is there any sort of overhang on the hinge style, the vertical edge where the hinges are? Does that piece of cedar or whatever lumber that is, does that hang over the face of the frame? Or does it sit flush or inside the frame? It can't hang over because when you look at the template, it would be a problem.
Well, there's no trim piece. There's no trim piece. So they're just the 2x6s, because it's a barn building, type building, and there's no trim pieces around it. The only thing I'm going to do is once I get this totally installed, on the outside part, I have a 1x that I'm going to put all the way around just to seal, just to cover that opening up. But I'm not going to do that until the hinges are installed, and they'll be on the opposite way from the way it's going to swing.
Right. Now, what would be the purpose of the trim piece? You mean to act as a stop?
Well, yeah, one is on the side where the latch is. Yeah, it would serve as a stop, but also the basically cover the air gap.
I understand.
So it's basically that faces to the north. And it's amazing how much with a north wind, how much breeze you can get through there. Plus, visually, I haven't stained it and everything, so it'll just when you're inside looking at it, it would just look all finished.
Yeah, you could nail a overlapping piece of lumber like 7/16 by 1.5 inches, over your margin. You could attach it to the bottom leaf, so it would seal that. You could also get more exotic and look at weather stripping, for that opening. But like you mentioned, it's a barn. Is it going to be under air or under heat? I'd imagine heat.
We have a little bit. I mean, the heater in there, it doesn't really heat it hot. It's like, okay, it's 50 degrees out there, and I turn the heater on to get the temperature up to about, 60 or so I'm comfortable working in a sweatshirt or something. It doesn't heat like a house. Like you heat a house. So I'm just adding a little bit of heat to make it comfortable out there. Like if it gets down to 30 degrees, forget it. I'm not going to,
Yeah. If it became a problem with needing to weather seal it, we could have a second conversation about what you could do to at least tamp down, the apps. You'll be able to hold your hand over that in the cold weather and just feel the cold coming through or the heat leaving. So that could be a second conversation if it became an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I don't anticipate it really being an issue because there's nothing there right now. There's just that 2x, I think it's like a 2x6 frame all the way around, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's no trim pieces on the outside or anything.
Well, there's nothing tingling for me that there's going to be a problem. So what I'll do is I will send you a quote for the parts that we've discussed, and I think you're going to be the envy of everyone around you. It'll be really nice when you're done because you know what it is. The hinges handle the weight, the width, and you'll never see them when the door is closed. They're just your look that you're going for will be thoroughly preserved.
Okay,
that sounds good.
That's
awesome.
Thank you, Richard.
Well, thank you both. Have a good weekend, and I'll send it to you before I quit working for the day, which is going to be in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Well, have a good weekend, man.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Now, what I was saying there at the end was it was unclear to me in the photograph if there was any sort of here's the client's door, and he said that he has a 2x6. So the 2x6 is going to be the jamb. That's pretty clear. But what wasn't clear is whether or not there was a piece of trim like that. That would be a problem for the sauce hinge. But it seemed that the client understood exactly what I was referring to and that is not there. So this is going to work out perfectly. Again, they're inexpensive. They're concealed. They're most capable of the weight. They're extremely capable of the width. If for some reason the width became an issue at some point, they could add a second hinge up top. But we've hung extremely heavy things just on the standard sauce hinges, much less the Hercules version of the sauce hinge. And, if you don't have a problem observing the E dimension, which is the dimension from the edge of the hinge to the face of the jamb or the edge of the hinge to the face of the door on the pull side, if you never have to get larger than that, then you're really never going to have a problem with that hinge at all. And the sauce 220 E dimension is on the template, and it is 9/32. So basically a 1/4 inch. You can't have more than a 1/4 inch there. Should work out just fine. I will update this as the client progresses along. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.